Prime Minister comes out talking about tax cuts and different things that they're going to do to try to stimulate growth. Now, we all know that inflation is running high right now, prices are up, and typically the way that you fight that is you kind of contract. Welcome to the channel. My name is Dennis, and today we're going to be talking about Great Britain, one of the most advanced, most important economies in the entire world. We're going to talk about this recent bond market sell-off, everything that's happening with the Prime Minister, and this financial scare that almost caused its collapse. So let's waste no time. Let's get right into the content today. Before we do, if you like content like this, leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this and hit that thumbs up button for me. Now, Britain has one of the most advanced economies in the world. Now, it's not the size of the United States or China when it comes to GDP, but it is one of the most important markets on this planet, especially when you think about London. Now, London, financial hub. So when we think about bonds, ETFs, different banks that are, huge in this space, everything that we do on a daily basis, London is a big part of it, just like Hong Kong is, just like New York is, just like Singapore, these mainstream players in this space. London is very important, and Britain in general, a very advanced economy that it's not one sector heavy. There's many different portions of it. It's very diverse. It's a very important economy in this world. So in the simplest of terms, and before I start rattling off all these different things that are part of it, just know that Britain is a very important player, a very important country in the world for GDP and economic purposes. Now, new prime minister comes in, new prime minister, excited, happy to get the role after everything that happened with Boris, and Prime Minister comes out talking about tax cuts and different things that they're going to do to try to stimulate growth. Now, we all know that inflation is running high right now, prices are up, and typically the way that you fight that is you kind of contract. You raise interest rates, you make borrowing harder, you make money less readily available, and that's usually the direction to slow down the inflation. And at other times when the economy is performing differently, that is when you do cuts on spending and cuts on taxes and things of that nature. So the Prime Minister just kind of came completely out of left field with it, and the market responded, the investors, the world responded. There was a big sell-off of long-term bonds, different bonds related to Great Britain. And how the world works, this world runs on credit. The entire world runs on credit. That's why having personal good credit is important. But these countries, that's what they do. They collect revenue in the form of taxes, and they issue a whole bunch of bonds. They have to pay interest on those bonds. They get money, and then they're able to fund social projects, able to fund roads, schools, the military, everything that they do, they do it based off of these bonds. You get the bonds, you get the income to come in. When it's time to pay out interest, bonds mature, the revenue that you collected from the taxes go, and it's a system. It's a financial system to keep things afloat. And this bond market sell-off was so large for Britain that it almost caused the entire thing to collapse, and to the point where the Prime Minister resigned, shortest amount of time in office of any Prime Minister. So many negative things, and just a scary thing for such an advanced economy, to see things spiral out of control that quickly. So question that we have, is this a warning for the rest of the world? So with Great Britain showing cracks in its foundation, is this a warning to other countries in the world? And my answer to that is absolutely. It is absolutely a warning to other countries that participate in similar bond selling practices, which the majority of countries in this world do. And depending on the country. Now, one country that came up specifically was Japan. The way that the world is moving as far as interest rates raising and just kind of doing things, Japan is doing things a little bit different right now. Britain was also moving in the same direction, and then, started to talk about tax cuts and other things that, aren't really necessarily where the world economy is right now. Bond market sell off. Bank of England had to step in. Japan also doing things a little bit different, and other countries as well. Nobody's necessarily immune to this. I'm not saying it will happen to other countries, and for the United States here specifically, little bit better as far as a stronger bond market, a more how do I say, for investors, this is a bond market that's attractive. Whereas, other developing countries and some developed countries as well, you can start to see rattling in different bond markets, and, just seeing it happen to Britain, one of the most important economies in the world, something to definitely keep an eye on. And I'm sure, a lot of central banks paying attention to it and trying to learn lessons from it. If you like content like this, leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this and hit that thumbs up button for me.